All right. Hey, my friend, and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about some common OCD and anxiety tricks or stuck points that really prevent people from reaching recovery. And in this episode specifically, we're going to talk about the idea of believing that your OCD and anxiety is different than other people's. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Codde, and I am the founder of Restored Minds, and I'm the creator of the AAA Response. And real quick, before we dive in, just two quick things. Number one, we'd really appreciate your support by liking and subscribing, leaving either a review on iTunes or Spotify, or even a comment on YouTube, as it just helps the algorithm of the show and it helps us get this information to more people that are struggling. So please show your support by doing that. Secondly, we just did our Overcoming Intrusive Thoughts workshop last week, and turned out great. Got a lot of positive feedback from it, and so thank you all who attended. For those of you that weren't able to make it, we do have the recording now available. And so we'll throw a little link down in the notes where you can go and get access to that if you would like. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into today. So there's some common tricks that the mind likes to play when it's really lost in that state of fear. And so one of the things we need to understand is this idea that when we are in a state of fear and our nervous system is really activated into that fight or flight, the mind is going to reflect that. And it's almost as if there are these, tricks that the mind plays to prevent you from getting better. And that's kind of my personal experience, as well as many of the clients that I've worked with, many people that have come through Taking Back Control, which is really our 12-week program, report a lot of these same exact thoughts. And so I thought it would be beneficial to really make a series on these specific stuck points, because it's likely that you're experiencing them, and it's also very likely that these exact things are the things that are actually preventing you from really getting to where you want to go. So the one that we're going to focus on today is this idea that, or this belief that your OCD and anxiety is different than other people's. Now, let's talk about the benefits of this belief, because every belief we have has certain benefits, right? So that's why we keep believing it, right? Doesn't mean that they're true. It just means that there's literally certain benefits of the belief. And so sometimes what we have to do is identify those benefits and be able to work through those to be able to drop the belief. And so the benefits of believing that this is yours is different, right? And so whatever that is, right? You might believe that just this really isn't OCD and anxiety, that you're different in general, that you're maybe your brain is broken, or whatever it is, right? But essentially the common phrase is that mine is different, I'm different. This, and the reason that belief serves you is because then you believe that what the recovery process is doesn't apply to you, and therefore it's not up to you to actually help yourself recover. All right, so that's one of the signature benefits of this belief, is that as long as you can convince yourself you're different, or that your OCD is different, then the proven path of recovery doesn't apply to you. And since the proven path to recovery is sometimes scary, or perceived to be as scary and difficult, even though that's usually a lot of the beliefs right there that we're going to talk about in this series is actually not as people usually make it way more difficult than it needs to be. The benefit of believing that it's different is that this path doesn't apply to you anymore, right? Because that path works for certain people with certain problems, and your problem is different. That path doesn't apply to you anymore. And you can actually stay in this state and not have to, you essentially displace responsibility. And I know that this might not be that fun to hear sometimes, but the reality is it's the truth. and especially in the context of OCD and anxiety. And this trick it plays of convincing you that you're different, or this is different, or this somehow doesn't apply to you, it will prevent you from doing the work, right? It will prevent you from even attempting it, and thereby keeping you stuck. And you've got to really realize, like, if OCD and anxiety's job, that voice in your mind is to essentially keep you stuck because of the, because of, like, if it's its own force, so to speak, and its job is to keep you stuck, like, this is one of the lies and that it's going to present to you and try to trap you with, and one of the tricks that it's going to play. So I want to really put a name to it and call it out for what it is, because I've seen this keep more people stuck than I can even count. And when we understand the main benefit of believing this, what we can begin to do is to identify that in our own life. And then whether that's not having to take responsibility, not having to do the hard work, or whatever it is for you, that belief serves that purpose. And once we can let go of that belief, we then can resume a responsibility and begin to do the things that we need to do to really break that loop. Because as long as you continue to believe that my intrusive thoughts are different, they need to be handled differently, they need to be taken seriously, these feelings of anxiety are real, they're not really anxiety, or whatever it is, however it manifests for you. The point that I really want to stress here is that as long as you keep believing that it's different, you won't do what you need to do to get better. And thereby you'll remain stuck. Because as long as you're engaging in those compulsions, whether they're physical or mental, those safety behaviors, so all the reassurance, the avoidance, the checking, the controlling, the medicating, escaping, and then the mental reassurance or mental ruminating, analyzing, thought suppression, thought avoidance, all that stuff, you're gonna stay stuck in that loop, right? That fear energy is gonna just keep looping and looping and looping and looping. And as that fear energy loops, the issue is that your life is going to get progressively smaller and smaller and smaller. And so this one thought of I'm different or this is different, we have to let go of that and realize, no, like, you have a nervous system. You have a mind, right? And instead of believing this idea that somehow you're different and none of this will work for you, the reality is if it's worked for other people, it will work for you. I fully believe that to, like, the depth of my soul. And I've seen countless people come in believing they're different initially, and then really reaching places of recovery. And the reason that was keeping them stuck was one time this one belief. And when we can let go of that belief by identifying the benefits of maintaining it, then what we can do is release the benefits, acknowledge that they're not actually benefiting us, release the belief itself, and then make the shifts in our behavior, in what we're engaging in on a day-to-day basis that will ultimately lead you to a much healthier state. And once you realize that your nervous system has the ability to shift from safe to fight or flight to freeze, just like everyone else, right? Like that upside down stoplight, green, yellow, red. And this OCD and anxiety loop operates because we get stuck in yellow. Well, if we break that loop and we literally allow our nervous system to shift back into green, that's what you're really looking for, right? And the way we do that is by not engaging in any behaviors that are validating that we're actually in danger. And all the compulsions that you do actually validate that you're in danger, thereby keeping you in that loop. So if you really embrace this idea that you have a nervous system, and this nervous system is learning based on what you're doing, and you're doing things that are keeping you stuck, letting go of this belief allows you to start doing the things that are going to break that wheel and allow your nervous system to shift into a place of safety. So hope that was helpful. And again, the central point of this is just letting go of the belief that I'm different, or that my OCD is different, or my thoughts are different, or the idea that this process doesn't work for me, because you have a nervous system. And this process will work for you if you really do it correctly. So hope that was helpful. And with that, I wish you guys a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there. So if you enjoyed that video, we've linked up a few more videos that we think you'd find helpful as well. And if you have found this helpful, we'd really appreciate your support by liking and subscribing. And if you're looking for help and guidance, please check out restoredminds.com as we have several options for you to get started. See you guys soon.